what I want to understand from you, Professor Kuznick, is that how much of this is actually going to have an impact on the ground in terms of ameliorating the situation, in terms of helping the world community come out of the kind of crisis we are facing as a fallout of the Ukraine war?
Have an impact in that way. You know, we're at a very crucial moment in world history. The world is quite fragile now. There is a recognition at this meeting, at the summit, of the importance of global warming and the need for the developed countries to finally follow through on their commitments to helping the poorer nations deal with global warming, climate change broadly. But in terms of the situation with Ukraine, the Russians got pretty much what they wanted from this meeting. This was not a strong condemnation of Russia, and the world has been very divided on this because the world has, sadly, seen the role the United States itself has played and seen the Russian aggression here, which should be condemned, as really minor compared to the U.S. invasions in Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, and elsewhere. And so much of the world's been hesitant to throw its weight behind condemning Russia. And we see the global South has not gone along with the sanctions. And Modi has been a leader in that regard. He's been neutral, just like India was neutral throughout the Cold War. India is neutral again. And so he was able to craft this consensus agreement, but it's based on not condemning Russia in the way that Russia was harshly condemned last year. So I see that as a victory for Putin. More broadly, I see this whole thing as a statement that the world wants leadership. When you've got Putin saying, looking out for Russia's interests and Xi Jinping for China's, and you go down the list, Sunak for Britain's interests, Modi is taking a different stand. He's saying what the world needs now. Let's look at this from the planetary perspective, not from an individual nationalist perspective. Yes, this has elevated India's stature globally. But the message that he's conveying is we've got to come together as a world community. We've got to get beyond the parochial divisions that are separating us now, because we're at a crisis point in world history. And if that message comes across, I think that's a huge victory for mankind, even though it might not be for individual nations that have their own parochial interests.